Hi everyone and welcome to our presentation. We are the 5 of economy class at Quan University. The topic we introduce you about today is familiar to everyone. That is Vietnamese rice market in recent years. First of all, I want to introduce you our team. So Phuc, that's my name. Kang Minwoo, Trang, Phong, Minh, and Quang. And our lecturer is Dr. Thanh. About our contents, we introduce you about the rice market, rice consumption, rice supply, and finally is the recommendations. Firstly, Phong will introduce you about the rice market.
My name is Phong, and I will introduce about rice markets. First is the global. The rice markets in the COVID-19 situation. The data about rice stock shows that the market fundamentals are robust, or we can say that there is no reason to expect the supply problems. In China, both the main producing and imported rice have reached just below the annual consumption. In India, the first world exporter of rice stock are sufficient for several months. Hence, the shortage of rice is unlikely in the short run. The exporter restriction or an increase in the international price would have devastating effects on the Africa, because Africa, which is relied heavily on imported food, other East Asian markets have also joined to buy rice. North Korean bought in a small volume in 2018 and still maintain to continue this trend. We move to the second is the rice market after the COVID-19 situation. The lockdown during the COVID-19 had not had much impact on the rice industry. The global rice market is projected to expand at a compound annual growth rate of 2.2% from 2022 to 2028. The growing demand for especially rice variety has increased the trade for long-grain rice. The increasing demand for high-quality rice from European and Gulf countries is further accelerating the growth of the market. The second part is the local, which is the rice market during the COVID-19 situation and in Vietnam. Since 2019, Vietnam had actively diversified its export market in order to reduce its reliance on the Chinese market. In terms of price, despite the winter-spring rice harvest, Vietnam's export rice price in the February 2020 increased nearly by 10% compared to January 2020, and is currently at the highest level in more than a year. The rice market after the COVID situation in Vietnam. Vietnam as a country rich in rice, tropical crops, aquaculture, and a major exporter of agricultural products in Southeast Asia. Export price will continue to remain high and may even increase due to the impact of the conflict with Russia and the war between Russia and Ukraine, because Ukraine does not export wheat, leading to high price of grain and food. This is the opportunity for Vietnamese to export the rice to the world. The rice exporters need to observe the market fluctuation in Philippines, China, Indonesia, India, etc., to have an appropriate strategy.
So next, I will talk about the rice consumption in Vietnam. First is the market size and consumption characteristics. Vietnam has got the copious domestic rice consumption market with more than 96 million people. Rice is one of the most consumed food in Vietnam in particular, as in Eastern countries in general. Besides being cooked, rice can be used for processing, bleaching, and storage. The Vietnamese domestic rice market is rather complex. People eat various kinds of different quality rice. We can see it's a chart of the Vietnam domestic consumption rice. From the chart, we can see Vietnam rice domestic consumption by year is relatively high, but has been slowing down over the past few years. Next is the consumption power. Compared to other countries in Southeast Asia, such as Thailand, Vietnam has got higher rice yield but export less. Vietnam produces an average of 26 to 28 million tons of rice per year. But after being used for domestic consumption, the volume of rice for export is only about 6 to 6.5 million tons per year. The Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development of the Vietnamese government estimate domestic demand for rice is 95.96 million tons. For food, Vietnamese people consume about 14.26 million tons. Vietnam has 96 million people. Its people consume about 96.6 kilograms of rice per year, equivalent to 9.27 million tons of rice. The consumer classification. First is based on the population level and consumption capacity. First is rural area. Rural people make up a large share of the population. It make up 65.6% in 2019. Rural people are the main source of labor for rice production. The Mekong River Delta and the Red River Delta are main rice production area of Vietnam. As a result, they consume large quantity of rice, but not only for food, but also for livestock and production. Urban area, the urban population now account for 34.4% of the country population and still growing. Because urban residents have a larger income, they are more health concerned and frequently eat high quality rice. Because of the availability of many other food sources, the average per capita rice consumption per month in urban area is lower than that in rural area. Next is beyond age. What is children? Children make up 25% of the country population and are therefore potential to get. The others account for 66% of the population with a significant proportion. This is the class who earn money and spend money, therefore they are the target of purchase decision and are frequently concerned with rice quality and brand. Elderly people only make up 9% of the population, which is a modest number that use small amount of food depending on their health situation. About the distribution channel, the different distribution channels are used to deliver rice to the consumer. Rice is sold directly from the farmer by the seller to the agency of the end user. Then agent distribute rice to our marketplace, merchant, independent grocer, and supermarket across the nation. Vietnamese people often buy their rice from farmers in rural regions and from open markets, retail store, rice market, or vendor in urban areas, since the rice is brought right to the customer door. The standard rice bags are stored in a tiny place of grocery store and retail store in order to be sold within 1 or 2 months. Only small amount of rice is offered for sale at supermarket, self-service, location, and business showroom. However, supermarket have recently started selling more. So that's the end of my part. Next, my friend Quang will present about rice supply.
Hi, next I will present about the rice supply of Vietnam in recent years. First, let's take a look at an overview of rice supply situation of Vietnam from 2019 to 2022. First, in 2019, Vietnam had highest productivity in planting summerphone rice with 54.8 quintal per hectare. The cultivated area of Vietnam decreased around 7.47 million hectares. The rice situation is not in an alarming state yet, when rice production is only down 3.6 thousand tons compared to the previous year in October 2018. Next, in 2020, the situation of cultivated area has not ameliorated yet, when it dropped from 7.47 to 7.22 million hectares. The rice supply situation in Vietnam has affected by any factors such as COVID-19, natural disaster like storm or soil intrusions, and crop diseases. But with reasonable seasonal adjustment, the use of high-quality rice varieties and crop that are less susceptible to diseases, and good disease control, the output is enough for domestic and export, from 37.8 in 2019 to 40.5 thousand tons in October 2020. Next, in 2021, at this time, the government gave the policies of Directive 15 and 16 because of the significant impact of COVID-19, and this policy affect a lot to production and supply price when it have only 33.5 million tons of price, down to 7 million tons compared to the October 2020. This situation caused also the rice fluctuations. From December 2020 to the May 2021, the rice price increased because at this time the supply decreased due to the scarce resources. Trader offer high price. By the way, we have no change in demand, so price increase is obviously. And from the May 2021 to December 2021, we have new harvests, rise, the epidemic situations and growth all rice stock from the COVID-19 because the fear of food shortage due to COVID-19 caused people to buy and hold. So the demand will decrease and no change supply, so the rice price definitely decrease. Next, here is some graph, some trend to describe the change in price from December 2020 to December 2021. Next, here I have also an overview of the harvested area and cultivated area from 2019 to 2022, and we can see that the harvested area in recent years accounts for a small amount compared to the cultivated area. And next, the rice output is not better, is decreased through from 2020 to 2022. And the last part of my part is I want to say about a little bit about the India policy about rice export. When the demand of rice remain unchangeable and the supply decrease due to this policy, the rice price are at a high level. But we have two sides. We have advantages and disadvantages. And we talk about the advantages. Vietnam will be able to export in large quantities so that due to the shortage of rice from India policy with high price and profit. But and the total value of rice export will increase. But in the long run, how the businesses could provide enough food for domestic and export when countries which import rice from India will import rice from another country like Vietnam. So the domestic supply decrease and the demand remain unchangeable. The price will increase, and this situation is not good for the domestic consumers. In the import side, we will have the situation that lack of imported rice and low price for animal feed production. Vietnam is usually import rice for animal feed production with low price from India. So banning on exporting will make the supply decrease, and we know that Vietnam imported around 400,000 tons in 2021, and this policy could push up the price. So this is not a good policy for Vietnam. So that's my part.
Okay, thank you, Quan. So now I will talk about the recommendation for expanding marketing. In the case of the government, there are two ways to expand the market. One is encouraging active participation in the export market. For example, the government needs to review the trade process and make them more intuitive, or reorganize the regulation, or build a friendly and trustful relationship with countries that often imports. Another one is rice development improvement. It is necessary to research to target various consumer groups by making several varieties and developing rice with variety and specialty flavor. And the government to find a way to keep the consistent and high quality of rice. Besides, the expansions of the market can be achieved not only through governments but also firms. First, companies need to learn export know-how. For example, they can find an efficient distribution method by familiarizing themselves with the international agreements and monitoring the market to understand the trends quickly. Also, it needs to improve rice quality at the company level. Typically, increase the inspection, supervision of the plant protection drugs, and control the problem of plant quarantine. To conclude this presentation, rice is one of the most consumed foods in Vietnam in particular and in Eastern countries in general. So there are various channels through which consumers can supply and distribute rice. In the past, the government implemented various attempts and policies to prevent overproduction. Recently, the government prevents a purge in rice price by exporting the secured production to overseas market in order to contain it.
Thank you everyone, and this ends up our presentation. The rice market in Vietnam is the microeconomics that the government has concerns about in recent years. And I hope the rice exporting of our country will increase significantly in future. Here is our reference. And thank you for listening.